Well, can you imagine trading it all in for a life in the wilderness?
Yes.
Living in a tent, no internet, mobile phones, hunting wild animals to survive and relying on only minimal supplies. Well, Dutch-born Miriam Lancewood and her Kiwi husband Peter have been doing just that, living a nomadic life in the mountains of New Zealand.
We were both longing for the wilderness and natural places.
I think there's many different ways people could live in the 21st century. The way we live is obviously quite rare, but it's possible because we do it.
Wow. Together, the pair has been living in the wilderness for 6 years, living off only $5,000 a year and making sporadic trips into the city for fresh supplies. But the 33-year-old says they'll continue living off the grid for as long as they possibly can.
Well, there's off the grid Miriam Lancewood, and then there's just like way off into the bushes. Why did you decide to do this?
Why? Well, we both really love the wilderness, to be wild, and to be part of that wilderness, to be part of that beauty and purity. And also, we wanted to know what is the effect on the body and mind if you live for such a long time away from civilization.
And what is the effect?
Well, in the beginning we thought, well, very little, but after some time, some years, I think I have become more confident. And that confidence is actually based on something more real. It's not so influenced by compliments and insults. And yeah, so more stable.
Okay, so what does your day-to-day life entail? So you go off into the wilderness and you set up camp and you may be there for how long?
We could be there for 2 weeks or 2 months, depending on firewood, on the animals we can find to hunt. So we have something to eat, yeah, and the weather, or sometimes we just find it a little bit boring in one place and want to go on. Okay,
so you sort of follow the seasons around. You would do that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. You grew up a vegetarian, but now you catch and kill your own food. What's that like?
Well, it's very difficult. So I used to say no animal needs to die for me, right? Then we go into the wilderness and we are relying on animals to survive. So then it was at least more realistic for me to start hunting them, right? That was very difficult, especially with a bow and arrow.
Yes.
So tell us how it works. How long? What is the longest set period of time you've actually been in the bush? And then you must come back into town for supplies periodically. So what does that look like? Whether it be look like flour there. So how often do you come back into town?
The longest period was 4 months, and then we came back into town to buy more flour and rice and tea and sort of the basic supplies.
And that's a walk, right?
You walk? That's a walk. That was a 4-day walk and then hitchhiking to the nearest town.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What happens if in a relationship, and in most relationships there are ups and downs, what happens if you have a fight or something?
Oh, try not to fight. I mean, I have no one else to go to, right?
Yeah, right. We have a disagreement. What happens?
About where to pitch the tent. That would be one, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Or whether you do the rabbits in soy or white wine sauce. What happens?
Oh, we have our own tasks. So I do the tent and Peter does the cooking. So in that way it goes better. We don't fight so much. We try to be very kind to each other. But also you learn a lot about yourself and about relationships doing exactly this.
So you've written a book about this. How did you manage to write the book with no electricity, no computer, you don't have a laptop or anything? So how did you write the book? Not at all.
So that links in with our philosophy of going through open doors. So I didn't think of writing a book. A publisher asked me to write a book. Then I thought, wow, what an opportunity. And then I went hitchhiking to town, and a woman picked me up and she said, I was explaining my story, and she said, you can come into my cottage if you like for 6 months. And another friend said, you can have my old laptop. And that's how I started writing.
You're fascinating. Thank you for coming in to see us today. I'm going to come and live out there with you for a couple of years.
Yeah, you should. With the best hair highlights in the biz. And I said, like, have you had your hair done since you've been in the city? And no, you can get that by living in the bush for 6 years.
You look like jungle, but Hollywood jungle. Thanks for coming in. This is fascinating. For more information on Miriam's adventures, you can pick up a copy of her book, Woman in the Wilderness. It is out now.